Okay, I'm back. This is the left panel. It's assembled now to the front here and the rear uh, rails of the frame. Uh, that's the uh, that's the back bottom with the arrow facing you, and this is the front rail. I'm not used to this, Lori, so bear with me. Okay, and this corner in the back, this is corner A. This corner in the front, this is your parts marked E for this corner. So we're going to do exactly the same thing for the right side. So I've got my right side panel here, all ready to go. I'm going to set this up and screw this in the same way as the left side. And at that point, you'll have the two sides and the bottom of the frame squared away. I'm going to stop this again. Okay, so now we've got the right side attached to the bottom front and back frame. We're using the 1 1/4-inch screws here to do this. So far, we haven't used the smaller screws. All right. Now, the next step is going to be, let me get over here, I'll show you the other side. Get a little better view here. So basically, here's what you have so far. You should have this. Next step, I'm going to get the pieces for the back panel, and I'll set them up for you, and then we'll get back to the video. I'll continue from there. Okay, next, Lori, we're going to put the back together. Here's the separate pieces that we're going to use. We've got two vertical pieces with all those holes in them. Those are for the shelf pins. But these are identical, but they are marked left and right. So the top left, with the arrow facing you, obviously is going to go on the left-hand side of the cabinet. The right one is going to go on the right-hand side. And they are going to fit. This is the back rail here. There's two holes here. This is where the left vertical support's going to go. And if you look over towards the right, there's another set of holes that's for the right side vertical support. And the three grooves back here that you see, those are for the three separate back panels. I'm going to put the left panel and the right panel in first, and then the center panel is going to go in last. That's going to drop down from above into the grooves. These grooves here are what's going to hold the panel in place. So we've got three panels, and of course they're all marked with arrows facing you. Left back, center back, and right back. So again, we're going to put the left-hand side in first, then the right-hand side. We're going to attach these two pieces to the bottom rail to keep those two left and right panels in place. Once that's done, the center panel drops in from the very top down into the grooves. And then after they're in, we're going to put this top rail on top of the panels and screw them down. It's going to lock everything in place. It'll start to make this thing really sturdy. So, and the back top, we got the arrow again facing you towards the front. Okay, this back top piece is going to be the last piece to go in on the back. All right, so I'm going to stop this again, and then I'll pick up once these are all in place. You might want to use that all on this part. These two holes, what we're going to do is this centerpiece is going to sit like this, and the screw holes are in the back. So this is where that little awl comes in handy. You want to push that down through the hole in the back to align it so it's kind of even stays in place. It'll help you keep it, sitting there steady for you. Then you can put a screw in on the other hole. Once that's tight, you can take the awl out and then put a screw in where the awl was. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Again, if you have any questions while you're doing this, you can always give me a call. Basically, I'm always available, but as long as I know what day you plan on doing it. So anyway, we're going to put left panel in, then we're going to put the left support in, the one that I'm holding, right panel with the right support, and then the center. So, turning this thing off again, pausing it. Okay, Lori, the left hand back panel is in, and the center left support for that panel is also screwed in on the bottom. I don't know if I mentioned it. To mount or attach that vertical piece for the panel, I'm using the smaller 1-inch screws. All right, not the 1.5 inch. They're a little too long and they go through the wood if you try to use those. So the 1-inch screws are what we're using for these pieces with all the little holes in them. All right, so that section is now in. A little tip on this panel: what you want to do is before you try to go nuts getting it in, what you want to do is you want to drop the lower left-hand corner down into the frame first, and then if you need to, you can grab the top of this corner here and just push it out gently if you need a little bit of extra space to get the panel to fit into the groove up there. You don't need to move it too much if you have to move it at all. But if you're having trouble getting it into the grooves, there's a little bit of play. You can, kind of wiggle and jiggle it in. It goes in pretty easy. All right. Next step is the right-hand side. I'll pick it up from there. Okay, here's the right rear panel in place. Lori, I gave you some bad information before trying about getting a panel in if you had trouble. What you want to do is you want to drop this corner in the groove first, and tip the panel this way till it lines up. You can get it into this groove. I told you the opposite way, but you'll probably figure it out easily enough. So we have both rear end panels in, left and right. Next step is the center panel. Now I've got this up on my workbench. To get the center panel in, I don't have enough room to get the panel in from the ceiling. It's going to hit. So I'm going to have to take this off the workbench, put it on the floor, and then I'll drop the center panel in. That's going to go right down through the grooves, straight down, and fit it right down into the bottom groove. You might have to maneuver it a little bit. The grooves, they have a little bit of play, wiggle room to, help you get it aligned. But once it's in, then you've got your 3 panels there. Next step after that is to put the top rail over the top to secure everything in place from the back. All right, I'll pick it up from there. Okay, center panel's in. I got it back up on a workbench. So the back is in place. And the next step is going to be to put the top piece of the frame in the back across the 3 panels to secure them in place. And that's going to complete the back section. I guess you noticed all of the assembly for the back, the screws are put in through the rear of the cabinet. That way you don't see them from the front. So next step, top piece goes on, and pick it up from there. The back panels are in now, Lori. I put the top piece above the panels and locked them down into the vertical supports for the panels in the back, and they're locked into the sides. So on the opposite side of this, we've got 2 screws here in this corner. We've got these 2 screws here, these 2 here, and 2 screws on the opposite side here holding this top piece in place. So all the panels are locked in, they're grooves. I put a couple of marks where where this piece meets that top piece of the frame. It'll help you align it exactly where the holes go. I had to use the oil to line it up. I didn't realize that one was a little tricky. So if you line up all of those marks, the center mark and the 2 ends, you should be right at where the holes are to put the screws in. Same with this one. Okay, so you know exactly where that piece has to line up. All right, that takes care of the sides and the back. The next video is going to be adding the bottom, the top, the front portion of the frame, and after that we mount the doors. So I'll pick that up tomorrow. Alrighty?